Hey guys, man, I'm super excited. I got my brand new boat here, 2023. The season's here. Let's go check it out. I've been loading it up all day. If I'm smiling from ear to ear, there's a reason. I got my brand new 2023 Nitro Z21XL in. It's just like one of the greatest days, being a pro bass fisherman. The day you get your boat, you get to put all your stuff in it. It's all clean, smells brand new. Man, I got all my stuff put in it this morning. I want to give you guys a walk around, a see-through, kind of tell you what's new on the 2023. There is like a couple features on this thing that I'm like, wow, it's been 8 years in the development. I don't think there's any other boat. I know there's not another boat that has a couple of these features that are really, really cool. So let's get off into it. You know, just a little bit about the boat. It's the Z21XL. They came out with this boat last year, 21 feet long. I always order a dual console, but I've already taken it out. I can show you that a little bit later when we get off into it, but I feel like I should probably just start at the bow and work my way back, and when we get to this thing right here, I'm going to tell you really cool features that I'm just blown away that they did. So come on up here, let's get started. All right, so just a real quick walk around, then I'm going to get up in it and really get into the details, but man, you'll just notice like monster front deck on the Z21s. I love how they changed the storage compartments, you know, over our old Z21. You know, this is the XL version. I've got 3 depth finders up here. Got a turret, ghost trolling motor. I just like it. It just smells new. I can't wait to be flopping a big old fish over on the side. Like I said, it's a dual console. I took the second console out. It's sitting up there. Really a couple cool features I want to show you here. You'll notice I don't have all my carpet decals. You know, I've got to get General Tire on here. I've got to get, man, I got a True Timber one. I've got a Berkeley one. I got to add the business into things to it. But yeah, this is where we're going to be driving. This is a really cool cruise air seat. I love this seat. Like you can see right there how the back's moving forward, and then the bottom airs up also. That's an option you can get on these boats. That's really cool feature to it. But you come back to the back. I have got 2 power poles. I love these things. I've got a Bob's hydraulic jack plate. Really cool. A 250 Pro XS. I'm in love with these engines. I just don't have to worry about oil anymore. Like so much in my career, I had to worry about carrying oil in my truck, you know, and you'd be gone 2, 3, 4 weeks. You know, it's just nice having these 4 strokes. I got a 23 pitch Fury 3-blade on that thing. That's the prop that it calls for. I am going to carry, and I'll show you in the boat, I'm going to carry a 4-blade as a backup, just for certain situations, rough water, those kinds of things, but you know, I am going to carry that. So let's keep moving. Real cool here, you know, here's where I plug in my power pole charge. I got to tell you about that power pole charge a little bit when we get in that boat too, but you plug it in right here. Got the boarding ladder. I use these for my motor toter, the DD26s and the steering stops. These things will last forever. I mean, they are just really, really good. They'll really stout, and it protects my motor going down the highway. Okay, so that's a quick overview of the boat. I want to get up in here. I want to start at the front. I'm going to show you how the front's set up. We'll move back here to the back, so let's get in here. Come on. So up here up front, you're going to see right off the bat, what is this thing attached to my trolling motor? Well, it is a turret, and a turret operates my active target right here independent from my trolling motor. So what I can do is I can go spot lock and hold right there on that spot. Then I hit this button right here, and I can just scan around, look for that brush pile, look for that rock pile, follow that fish. You just see this button right here, and this moves independently from my trolling motor, which is super, super cool. So I've got a second active target on my trolling motor, and I did that because of the speed issue. When I'm traveling down a bank, you know, and you're all the time fishing down a bank, I've got it hooked up here to my HDS9. You know, so this screen is going to be the active target on the trolling motor. You know, the active target on the turret I'm going to have on the 16. This 9 over here, I will operate it with my mapping, maybe my 2D sonar. You know, also if I'm needing to use my side to side, I will have all that. You know, I've got many different options here to set that up, which I really, really like. You know, a couple other features. I've got a troll tamer right here at the bottom. I love this troll tamer. I tighten that screw to where I can have it in the open position and it stays open to where it's locked right here with the cable. And then if I need it to lock, I just pull it forward. Now you can loosen that screw to where you have to, it locks every time. I don't like it. I have that screw just enough tightened to where it's open or locked when I want it that way. I've got my power pole buttons right here on the side that controls my power pole. I've got my 0.1 right there, you know, right up here front. Like when I hit a waypoint, it's reading that 0.1 right there. It's, you know, I'm getting a waypoint right here, not 21 feet in the back of the boat. I also added a little 12-volt receptacle up there, just, you know, if I want to run GoPros or something like that on the boat, just a really cool handy feature. They've got a really cool, you know, little drink holder here. I keep some plug knockers in here. You can keep some pliers. You know, 3 depth finders is probably, you know, a lot for a lot of people, you know, but I like it. You know, I'm able to do a lot of different things with these things, but, you know, to make all 3 of those depth finders work, you've got to have a really good mount up here. I've got this Bass Boat Technologies mount. Man, it is rigid. Like you could pull your boat with it. It's just super lightweight, made out of aluminum. Great company. I've been running these mounts for a long time and they don't give me any trouble at all, but a super good mount. I really like them a lot. You'll notice I also got a hydrowave up here. You know, there's some instances where I think that really, you know, gets me a few more bites, but you know, right now I've got the speaker actually tie wrapped up underneath this depth finder because I'm going to Florida, going to be fishing a lot of water. I'll probably have to take that second active target maybe off or scoot it up out of the water, you know, to keep from getting all that grass on it. But that's the front end, that's the fishing end, that's the catching end of my boat right here. There's a lot of stuff that happens up here, but man, I really, really like how I've got it set up. Gives me a lot of confidence being able to see all 3 of those screens and be able to look in every direction. Them fish cannot hide. I'm going to be able to see them with these things. All right, before we move to the back and I show you these compartments and all my tackle in here, you know, notice that we've got 2 different pedestal mounts. You know, if maybe you're super tall, super short, whatever it is, you've got 2 different options there so you can still reach your trolling motor. If you're using your pro pole or you're using your sit-down seat, you've got options with these 2 different pedestal mounts. Another thing about the front deck of our boat that you can't even see is this is padded. There is padding underneath the carpet. Makes a big difference at the end of the day. We also got 2 little storage compartments here. You know, just put some package of worms, put your favorite scent, whatever you want to put in there. You know, my screen cleaner. I put my screen cleaner for my front depth finders in these little compartments right here in the front of the boat so I can get to them. So let's move to the back. All right, you'll notice, man, this is a huge front deck. You know, plenty of room for 2-3 people fishing on this thing. I really like how they changed in the XL over the previous 21 model. You'll remember they had 2 small compartments and 1 big one. Now we've got just 2 big lids here, 2 rod boxes on each side. You know, I like the configuration. So when I open this up, you'll notice, man, I've got this thing plumb full of tackle. I am ready to go to Florida. The compartments are lit. There's actually a little relay, contact relay there when they touch. You'll also notice that they're really deep channels. You know, one thing that all boats struggle with through the years has been getting water in your compartments. They've really added a lot of distance here to help keep water out of your compartments no matter what, you know, degree your boat is sitting in. You know, that water's going to drain right out. You know, these compartments here are also, you know, for rods. If I didn't have this completely full of tackle, you can see right here, there's rod tubes. 2 layers of rod tubes on both sides. So, you know, not only can you put rods in your rod boxes, you can lay a couple, you know, rods right there on top, you know, if you wanted to do that. Really kind of a cool feature. Also got some worm bag holders up here. Got little magnetic trays. All this comes standard with this boat. This is how the boat comes, you know, equipped. Really, really cool. But I just love how they open. You know, I like being able to sit here and work on tackle. Think about that for a second. With a lot of other boat companies I've been in, you don't have a spot to sit and work on tackle. You're on your knees on one side or the other. So I can sit here, be working, rigging stuff, get in here, get out, leave these open. It's just really nice being able to sit here and work on tackle. It's something that you take for granted until you get into somebody else's boat. But all right, I'm gonna put those back in there. I do want to show you, I guess I'll show you something right quick, just show you these rod boxes here. So you can take a rod, and you'll just notice that those rods will fit right there, no problem at all. That's a 7'1" spinnerbait rod. You could put, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then there's a second row beneath that Plano bag. A bunch of rods in here, guys. You know, maybe rods that you're just using for the day, or you know, maybe you got a partner or whatever, they can lay all their rods right there too. So that's kind of a nice feature. Pull it right out. I'm gonna put it back over here in that rod box where it goes for me. But I've got all my tackle in here. I carry a lot of these smaller boxes like this that I like. I don't know, I feel like they're a thinner layer. I mean, I've got a lot of tackle. I've got a little bit of everything that I might ever need, no matter where I go, right up here in this boat. So you'll notice in my rod box over here, I took the rod organizer out. They're great, but also it takes me longer to stick rods in there, stick them out. I have to be careful to hit the holes. It comes out with 4 screws. I can show you what that looks like, you know, but I just take it out. It's a great feature for a lot of people. You know, if you got 20 rods, great. I've probably got 30 rods in here, so I can get more rods in here by taking it out. I also add lights to both sides of my rod locker. Like when I open this side over here, I've got lights. And the reason I do that is just a lot of times I'm working on my tackle at night. And those little lights right there really add a lot of light to where I can see at night to tie my baits, tie my lures on. Super simple. They got on-off switches. You know, the rod box is lit, you know, but it's shining down in here. By these lights shining to the side, I'll have light at night. You can get a lot of mosquitoes, you know, coming your direction too, you know, especially when I go down to Florida. This side, I just keep life jackets, I keep rain suits, keep fishing line, my throw cushion, my fire extinguisher. All that stuff stays over here on this side. One thing to remember with 2 active targets is you have 2 active target boxes, and I also have a Sirius satellite weather module mounted, and I mounted all of that stuff right here in this rod box. So it's all clean. I also added one other thing to my boat that's brand new, I've never had before, just to make everything work. You know, everything to talk is an Ethernet expansion port. You know, it worked good last year, but there was, you know, like I couldn't do side imaging on one of my units, or I couldn't do active target on another unit. I put an Ethernet expansion port right here, super simple. That way everything can be connected in any configuration that I want. So I put that right here in the rod box. There's plenty of room. You'll see I've got my 2 active target boxes, I've got my expansion port, I've got my Sirius weather module in there. That's super cool. I get sports radio, I get every ball game you can ever imagine. I get the lightning strikes. I get everything on these units right here by having that in there. All right, so that's a lot of power that we got in there, and we will get to what I've got in the back of the boat, what I've done to power all this stuff. But with that said, I'm gonna close this box up. I want to talk about this right here. This is the greatest thing ever on a boat. We all have had boats that you have to lay in your carpet down here and work with a flashlight in your mouth up underneath this console when you change out a graph or you add something or something goes out. No longer. You take these 4 screws off right here, and this console comes off super, super simple. Got 4 more right here underneath this plate. All right, now that I got all 4 of these screws out, I can work underneath this console. I can change the fuses. I can, you know, replace a NEMA bus bar, you know, replace an Ethernet cable, anything at all. No longer, if you have a blown fuse, you have to crawl up under here. This is all sealed now. You can't get to it from under there. You get to it right here, which is really, really cool. If you ever had to change something out, I love that aspect of a Nitro. Because I got light, I got daylight, I can see it all. It's just super, super cool. A neat feature that I think is really, really cool on these boats. All right, before I get up and I show you this console, or I'll show you this ice chest, we do have a drawer right here, a nice little storage drawer. I've got all the necessities of stuff that you need in there. Really like that a lot. You know, you got 2 cup holders each side. You got 4 different plier holders. Kind of cool concept that they did. I drop stuff all the time in these holes, whether it's a worm weight, a jig, my favorite lure. That now is a cavity right there. All you have to do is take those 3 screws out. This lifts out and you can retrieve your lure. Before, you needed to run across the lake and let that weight or that lure bounce all the way to the back and then get it in the back. You know, you could never get it. That was a lot of thought that you would never know was there, but there's now actually a cavity. If you have something that falls through those holes, take 3 screws and you can get your bait back. Kind of cool. All right, so right here, guys, I love this, and I've said it before in my other videos, but man, having a trash can in your boat, how cool is that? Every time I get gas, I just go empty my trash. It's got a monster ice chest. I got a sandwich tray over here separate. I mean, you can put 2 bags of ice, a 12-pack of water in there. It's all fully insulated and encapsulated. It holds your ice all day. They've made huge improvements on this ice chest through the years. One other thing that they've added is a lip around it. You know, before, when you had rainwater, they didn't, you know, it wasn't a waterproof compartment, so you would get rainwater in your ice chest, melt your ice a lot quicker. Now they've added this lip. It's now, none of that water off the boat drains into it, which is really a cool concept that they added to it. All right, when you get behind the console here, man, I just love how I got my boat set up. I've got 2 12-inch screens here, again, mounted on those Bass Boat Technologies mount, really secure, really stout. I've got my screens set up or connected to a lot of different things. I've got my screens connected to my motor in the back, my vessel view link, so any warnings, any problems, you know, anything at all, I can see exactly what my motor's doing on my Lowrances, from RPMs to fuel burned to errors, you know, anything like that. I've got my depth finders also hooked up to my Sirius satellite radio. I can control whatever channel I want to listen to, football game, weather. I can overlay it all on my screen. The wind barbs, that's a cool deal. Like when you're on those, you know, real long snaky lakes like Table Rock or something like that, you know, those wind barbs will really tell you where the water's hitting, you know, the bank. Really cool. You can actually control your trolling motor from these screens. One of the things I love is my power pole charge. I can see exactly how many battery volts I have in my batteries and where it's, you know, displacing the charge. I can also control all my switches. You know, if something was to happen to this panel down here, I can still control all my live well switches, my lights, my fan, everything right here through the switching of my Lowrances. I set my screens up. I've got map, 2D sonar, side imaging, and down imaging. Now, with all this active target stuff, you know, I also can hit this button right here, and you know, the guy in the back can be looking at the active target, just the exact same thing that I'm looking at. He can see exactly what direction it's pointing from here in the top right screen. So it's kind of a cool feature too, that, you know, you can watch your active target from the back of the boat. All right, to put that back, what else? Oh, yes, this is the coolest thing ever. Okay, brand new, the Z-Touch 7-inch screen here on the console. When I touch this thing, look at this. So I've got my first fish. We had that last year, you know, and what that is, if you hadn't saw that video, if I just touch first fish 1, that controls the live well over here on the port side. It fills it up. And then once it's full, it automatically changes to recirculate. You know, in the past, you'd have to fill it up and I'd forget and I'd have ice in there and I'd just keep filling water all day long. So that first fish feature is really cool. It takes all the guesswork out of it. It fills it up, then it switches over to recirc and it comes on every so often. I've got night mode there. It dims the screen, really cool. Again, I can go to all my switches. But now, the newest, the latest, the greatest, this thing is so cool right here. Watch this. I can take and hit, let's say, man, I'm running down the lake, I'm getting to Florida, you know, and I've got this big old massive bay up here and I'm fixing to go fishing. I hit this button right here, shallow water. You hear that? It raises my jack plate up and my motor to fish shallow water, which is so cool. I can also double tap my screen up front, just double tap that up arrow, and it goes into shallow water mode. when I get done fishing up there, I can double tap the down arrow, or I come back here, I hit the whole shot. Watch this, watch this. Bam, I hit it. The jack plate goes down, the motor trims all the way down, and I'm ready to go to the hole shot. You know, it's like, that adds like 5 casts to my day. I think it's really, really cool. Also, running down the lake now, on these, I can see where my trim is at any given time. I can see where my jack plate is at any given time. I don't have to turn like this. Oh, is the jack plate up? Is the jack plate down? That is so cool. So, so cool. I love that. Also, right here, I've got my trim on a blinker style deal here on the left. I got my jack plate on the right. My steering wheel is adjustable up and down. Really, really cool feature. When I get here underneath the console, I've got a hot foot. I think it's a must-have. I love to keep both hands on the wheel. That hot foot, you know, just I can control it. I've also got a cell phone holder right here, which is super cool. I got another radio. I got 2 radios in here. I've got this kicker radio. I can also Bluetooth my phone to it along with my depth finder. So we got a backup radio if we ever needed it. Got a couple USB ports here to charge my phone or a GoPro if I needed to. I did add another USB port right back here. You can see, just to charge a GoPro. You know, so many of us in our tournaments, we got to, you know, have at least a GoPro somewhere, so I can mount one right there. Got power right there, easy to go. So, you know, I touched on the seat earlier. I love my seats because they're adjustable front and back. Really a cool feature, and also the air. I can add air. I'm being raised up right now. And then the back, you know, like when you're running, I got back support. You know, a lot of times you're leaning underneath this console. I can run that thing all the way forward. When you look, I got that all the way forward right there, and that pushes me forward. You know, it just gives me some back support running down the lake. So what a cool Helm station right here. Like, I just love this thing right here, my jack plate and my trim. Pretty cool. All right, let's move on to the center seat. I got to talk to you about that. A really cool feature on my Nitro Z21XL is this third seat. Man, there's times that you got multiple people going, then there's times that there's only 2 people going, and I take it out. So let me show you how this works. You know, you just have 4 snaps right here on each side, and then I keep this in my truck. I go throw that in my truck, and I take this out, and I throw that in my truck. Now, man, I don't have anybody stepping on my seats. You know, you can move back and forth fighting a fish. You also got a really nice storage compartment right here. Little cell phone holder, just a nice little storage compartment. I love that storage compartment. It's a great use of space. What is this thing right here? Check this out. New addition for the year. It's also from DD26. We mentioned the motor toter and the steering stop. This is for when I'm going to spool my line. I just put a spool of line right there on that. It's just a great place for it. I can be sitting right there on the front deck and be spooling my line. So I really like that. It just sticks right there. You could also screw it or suction cup mount it, but a cool little feature that we added. This is your dip net storage. I don't carry a dip net. You can see right here and fit in behind the seat. I do carry a push pole. So I just mount my push pole right here. I just got a super stick push pole, extends on out to, I don't know, a bunch of different feet. And I just keep it right here. But that's a great place for a dip net. I can get a big dip net in there, and it's always out of the way. So right here behind me, I think one of the greatest features on a Nitro is our live wells. And why I say that is they're insulated. They're completely separate. I don't have to worry about a fish going from one to the other. If I ever have a pump go out, I have one live well that's working. They're just separate. Like, you know, there's a full set of pumps for this live well, a full set of pumps for that live well. Not only that, they have a baffle system in them that keeps fish a lot of times from jumping out. It also protects fish from hitting their head on this. All the corners are rounded. They're just really fish-friendly live wells. Got a recirc pump, a pump-out pump, a fill pump. It's also got an oxygenator in there, so it's just got a lot of great features. This little bar right here, you can put your culling tags, just hang them right here. It keeps them up out of the water, but they got great live wells. Also right here is your little handy-dandy fish measuring stick. Just keeps it right there. Hopefully you don't have to use that. Hopefully they're all great big ones and you don't need that measuring stick, but 2 completely separate live wells. When you move over here to the passenger seat, it slides, you know, front and back also. One thing that I got on my boat that a lot of people don't have is I have one more power port right here. I put one more power port right there. That is for my boat officials, my marshals. You know, they're all the time running that iPad. They don't have to string a cord across here. They don't have to get an extra battery pack out. They can plug in right there, keep their iPad charged to keep entering those fish in that score tracker so I can be up at the top. So kind of cool. This seat slides, you know, forwards and backwards too, really nice. So yeah, let's go to the back deck. Let's start off right here where all the power takes place. You know, our storage compartment in the back of a Nitro is monstrous. One, look how big the lid is. Why is that important? So you can get these batteries in and out. Like, you know, a lot of times they have really narrow lids and it's tough getting those batteries in and out. I've got 5 batteries in here. I've got 3 Optima D31s that operate that Ghost trolling motor. I've got 2 D34Ms that operate all the electronics. That are my 2 cranking batteries. I have those hooked in parallel. This system works flawlessly for me. I mean, I have no power issues all day long. Everything is really, really good. Got plenty of room for my power pole pumps back over here. I've got a power pole charge. Where is it at? Oh, it's against that wall over there. I've got my spare prop right here. You can see it. I hope I don't ever need it, but there's just room for everything back here. I have a Perco switch right here where I can turn all power off to the boat. Really, really handy. I've got my trolling motor breaker right there. If it's ever tripped, it's really easy to get to. Just come back here and trip it. Another great thing about a Nitro boat, in my opinion, is I can get to all my pumps by raising this one access door. I can get to my bilge pumps. I have 2 in here, by the way. I have just redundancy. It's always great to have 2, a manual and automatic. I can get to my fill live well pumps right there. It's just, I can get in there to, like, let's say you've lost something in the bilge area. I can just open that lid up, get to all that stuff without having to take a battery out. Also, there's a nice little storage compartment here that sits on top, carries spare trolling motor prop. I've got to get my hub in my spare prop. I'll show you that in a second. How about this? You know, we talked about some other cool things that Nitro did this year, you know, with the Z Touch screen. They added this NOCO Boost Plus. This thing will jump my big motor multiple times. Just a really cool safety feature. Another thing, it's got a cell phone charging port. You can charge your cell phone. It's got a light. It also will flash. Hit it again. Just some cool safety features. I just really like how Nitro thinks about things. You know, you can just check the power of it. It's fully charged right there. These just plug right in and you can jump a battery with it. Really simple, but just a cool feature that comes with my Nitro Z21XL, this Boost Plus, if I ever had to jump it. Kind of cool. Or to charge my cell phone battery, whatever it may be, just a cool safety feature. But that is my compartment back here. It's just really nice, clean, very, very organized. And it's big and roomy. Plenty of room for everything to fit in there, something I really, really like. All right, so I got 2 storage compartments here on the back deck. You know, really awesome compartments. I love these compartments because I keep all my plastic right here behind my driver's seat. I keep this one open just for my marshal, boat official, co-angler, whatever it may be. But you know, I got a lot of plastics back here, my jig box, got my just plastic trailers, my worms, you know, you name it, I've got them all back here. A great advantage to a Nitro also is this box comes out. Check this out. So you want to go into your hotel room, you want to work on tackle, you want to take it, you know, maybe you keep your boat in storage and you want to take everything home, it comes out. That's a great advantage. The other great advantage is, look how much more access that gives me to work on batteries or to maybe run an extra transducer down the side. It's just more access, more light, all those things to be able to get back in here and work on the boat. It's a big thumbs up. Also, I can take this side plate off with about 4, 5, 6 screws. I can get to the recirc pumps. You know, if I ever had to change a recirc pump down the road, I can get to that very, very easily. Let's go back here to the back of this bad boy and just show you everything else we got on here. All right, so we got a really nice boarding ladder. You know, that can be a lifesaver. This thing pushes down so it locks up underneath there, makes it really nice, you know, to get in and out of your boat. It operates with the power poles, no problem. You know, you can get it up and down, works really well. I've got, right here's where I plug in my charge system. The power pole charge, guys, is one of the greatest inventions ever. With the new alternator on these Mercuries, I believe it's 80 amps. It's more than enough amperage to keep batteries charged. So they can redistribute the power to my trolling motor batteries. You know, it's just really cool. Also, like from my phone or from the graph, I can jump over from my trolling motor batteries to my cranking batteries if I ever needed to without ever even having to get up out of my seat. I can also see the charge status on my phone through that Power Pole Charge. Power Pole Charge is just a great deal. I'm not sponsored by them, but it's one of those things I love to have on my boat because it operates so flawlessly and just does a great job and just makes everything so convenient. Another cool feature I got on my boat is this flow right drain plug. You know, it's just really cool because, you know, I can just turn that switch, now it's out, now it's in, now it's out, now it's in. You know, it's really important. All these invasive species, some of these states require you to, you know, drain and dry your bilge area. Now I can open it. I don't have to get down on the ground, get on a wet boat ramp, you know, wet gravel, and take my plug in and out. Works really, really well right there. I went with a Bob's hydraulic jack plate this year. I really like it. I think it's going to be a great jack plate. Very, very stout. They've got the pump on the outside, inside the unit. It's all self-contained. You know, I go with 8-foot blades. You know, the Power Pole blades. They work really well. It's just kind of one of those must-haves. You know, we've all gotten so used to them. And no boat's complete without the motor. You know, the 250 Pro XS. This thing is just bulletproof. I love it. You know, I don't have to carry oil anymore. It just sounds awesome. Really fuel efficient. You know, just change the oil in it and keep going. That's what I do. I run a 23 3-blade Fury on there. Seems to be a really, really good prop, all around prop. You know, I do carry that 4-blade 24 Fury for certain situations, rough water, getting up shallow, those kinds of things. But man, I just love these Pro XSs. It's such a night and day difference from the Optimax. I mean, Optimax is a great engine, but these are just really, really amazing engines. So yeah, guys, that's my boat, man. The next thing to do in this thing is to catch like a 10-pounder. My first bite when I get to Florida, I hope it's a 10-pounder, and I'll post a picture of it. But I hope you enjoyed the boat walkthrough. I'm looking forward to a great, great season in it. And you know, the next thing we'll try to do is maybe give you some updates on the water if you guys want any on the water test. I'm also getting my truck rigged out. I think that would be a pretty cool video to see. But man, I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks guys for following along.